Ooh. Ooh. So I just got the notification, which means that this live stream is now live. So yeah, I'm here. Not sure what I'm going to talk about tonight, besides the obvious, but it's cool. It's just it's interesting. Like in situations like tonight, where I can just turn on a live stream and talk to people from all across the universe after witnessing some craziness on my television screen. So basically, I'm just live streaming tonight because I can, pretty much. So let's see, we got Sam Jones out there, technically T, STS Tech, Jason C, Alan Osborne. We got Jeff Marcus. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really too mad. I mean, oh, we got G Michelle out there. I'm more mad that the defense gave up the touchdown as opposed to Cody Parkey missing the kick. I'm not even mad at Cody Parkey. Everybody's mad at Cody Parkey. I am not mad at Cody Parkey. And the reason why I'm not mad at Cody Parkey is because he should have never been put in that situation to begin with. The defense should have locked that shit down when they had the chance, but they gave it up, and the Bears lost and were out of the playoffs. So, bye-bye, Chicago. Oh, we got Brandon Ayers. What's up, Brandon, man? I've never seen you on my stream before. How you doing, bro? What's up? Let's see. We got, my man, Juan Contreras, and we got Tech Neutrality. What's up, man? What's up? Oh, man. But, yeah, man, it's just, yeah, I'm not blaming the kicker at all. Like, that's not on Cody Parkey. Like, he should have never been put in that situation to begin with. So I am not blaming Cody Parkey at all. Not having it. But yeah, but what else is going on in life? So the Bears lost. I just canceled my subscription to DirecTV Now. See, that is the beautiful thing about cord cutting. Like when you don't have to worry about cable television where you're locked into a contract or different things like that. You can cut the cord and then you can sign up for cord cutting services, right? So the cool thing about cord cutting services is that they don't lock you to a contract. It's a month-to-month thing. So you can cancel at any time. So basically, I had DirecTV Now, and I got it back when the football season first started. But given the events of tonight, and knowing that the Bears aren't going any further, I have no more need for DirecTV Now. So I just went on the website, and I canceled it. Bam! And DirecTV Now is out of there. So, yeah, no more DirecTV Now. Now, the issue comes when Game of Thrones comes back on air in April. But for that, I'll probably just sign up for HBO Now and be done with it. And that'll be a lot better anyway, because then I'll only be paying like $15 a month as opposed to like $40 I'll pay DirecTV Now a month. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, DirecTV Now, bye-bye. Gotta go. Oh, I think we got Catwoman. Tech Valor, what's up? What's up? How you doing? Yeah, Tech Neutrality, I know who you are. I remember you said that last time. Yeah, Catwoman, what do we owe the pleasure? I'm just live streaming because I just watched my football team lose, so I'm here live streaming, and this is a Google Hangout, which means the doors are open for people to come live stream with me if they so desire. But other than that, I don't have any rhyme or reason for this live stream, other than the fact that yeah, as some of y'all may notice, I no longer have the silver Sony. I took those back, and I got the black ones because I kept watching YouTube videos on these things, and I kept seeing everybody with the black ones, and they look so good in the videos. So I'm like, you know what? I want the black one. So I went to Best Buy early today. I pulled a semi-painfully honest check. Although I didn't return the, well, I technically, I guess I did return the silver one, but I exchanged the silver one for the black one. So now I have the black Sony WH-1000 XM3. So these are the black ones. So that's how we doing. Oh, Mr. Catwoman's in the building. What's up, dude? How you doing? We got the whole family on deck. What's happening? I like that. No doubt, no doubt. So yeah, I am now the proud owner of the black Sony 1000 XM3s, which these look sharp, man. I don't know how many of you all seen my new Twitter profile picture, but damn, it looks good. I'm just saying. It looks good. Oh, man. Let's see. STS texted, I'm looking for an awesome new VoIP service with some nice features like after hours that's Linux competitor or full featured web app. I don't really be open to VoIP too much, so I have no idea. Not cool. Catwoman is all right. It is what it is. Oh, she using Magic Jack. Oh yeah, Magic Jack is. They've been around for a while. They've been doing their thing. So that's what's up. So on Friday night, I was gonna make a video about this, and I still might, but I should say I was gonna use it in the video, and I probably still will use it in the video. But since I'm here tonight and I'm alive, I could talk about this and give you all my thoughts on it. So some interesting stuff happened in the last like 48 hours, 72 hours. But on Friday night, I had Roberto Blake on my live stream on Friday Night Viper or Friday Night Vipe. And Roberto, I think it was like 4 hours in, Roberto made a statement that just took me by surprise. I was not expecting it. It was kind of out of left field. I can't believe that stuff came out of his mouth, but it came out of his mouth. But as usual with Roberto Blake, when he says something, he just doesn't say it to say it. When he says something, it has merit and he has logic behind what he's saying. Excuse me. So what Roberto said on Friday night is that he thinks it's time for the iPhone to end. I was like, whoa! Oh, what are you talking about, Roberto? What handy monkey piss are you talking about, Roberto? Oh my God. Yep, that mediocre tech. No, he knows where I'm going. Mediocre tech he knew where I was going with this. But Roberto Blake said it's time for the iPhone to end. Now, he elaborated on what he meant. He didn't mean that Apple should stop selling iPhones because that would be scandalous. I mean, why would they do that? But the iPhone does make up 68% of their current revenue. And that's a lot, especially for a smartphone space that's rapidly on the decline because we practically reached the apex of smartphone technology. As I've told you all many times before, the new wave of technology is towards AI and software. Hardware has reached its peak. AI and software is the future going forward. So the reason why Roberto Blake said the iPhone should end is he said that the last iPhone that actually offered us something was the iPhone 6S. Now, that's kind of a crazy statement because the iPhone 6S is like, what, a 4-year-old iPhone now? Like, what, 3 or 4 years old? So it's kind of crazy. But his reasoning, as usual, was spot on. Basically, he made the argument that the iPhone 6S was the last iPhone that didn't compromise on anything as far as features that the consumer can come to expect and stuff like that. The iPhone 6S had the large screen. It had a headphone jack. I mean, you weren't losing features with the iPhone 6S. Ever since the iPhone 10 came out, Apple has done less and less with innovating features on the iPhone. Like now, we no longer have the headphone jack. Well, the battery. I mean, the batteries haven't got much better, if at all. And then the other problem that there's a lot more iPhones even now than it was even like 4 years ago. You got all types of iPhones on the market. You got right now you got the 6S, the 7, the 8, the 8 Plus. Actually, the 6S, 6S Plus, 7, 7 Plus, 8 Plus, 10, 10, 10S Max. I mean, there are too many iPhones on the market, really. And I agree with this. Life was a lot simpler when there was maybe one iPhone out there, or maybe even two. Back in the days, you had the iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus. And like I would even argue that life was simpler back when you had one iPhone, the iPhone 4 or the iPhone 5 or whatever. You had one iPhone to choose from and you got it or you didn't want it or kept your old iPhone or you upgraded to that new iPhone and you kept it moving. Now today you got the iPhone 10R, the iPhone 10R, you got the iPhone 10S and 10S Max. And then, like I said, you got the iPhone 10 out there. You got the 7, the 8. I mean, it's just too many of them. The problem that this creates is that you lose sort of like how can I say this? You lose the exclusivity of the product when you saturate the market with products that are just alike. you know that if there's only one iPhone being released in a year, you got to have it. Like, you know, everybody else is going to be gunning for that one iPhone. It's like back in the day when iPhones used to sell out like immediately. Like when the iPhone 6 first came out, you could not get that on launch day unless you stood in a long ass line, because everybody knew that that was the primary iPhone, and that's the one that you had to have. You didn't have an iPhone 10R, a 6R, or a 6S Plus, or you had the iPhone 6 Plus, but you didn't have all these other iPhones out there in the wild to cloud your buying decision. You had one decision to make: get the iPhone 6 or 6 Plus or nothing. And the way that worked, because you had that one decision to make, that added to the kind of like the, how am I trying to say this? Hold on. So when you have the one iPhone as opposed to a whole lineup of iPhones, the iPhone today isn't as scarce as iPhones were 4 years ago, 5 years ago. The iPhones today aren't as must-have as iPhones were of the past. And a lot of factors play into that, obviously, but the main factor is that there are more iPhones to choose from today than there were in the past. There's a lot more availability than there was in the past because you only had the one iPhone to choose from, and everybody and their mama was gunning for that one iPhone. So that, in and of itself, it devalues the iPhone because there's so many of them. It devalues the iPhone in general because you have so many choices now and so much availability that the iPhone isn't the exclusive commodity that it was 4 years ago. So in that respect, that's part of the reason why iPhones aren't selling as well as they were back in the day, because there's so many of them out there and availability is so widespread that everybody can have an iPhone. And also we have to think about the fact that the iPhone's been out for 10 years. So over the 10 years of the life cycle of the iPhone, everybody who wants an iPhone probably has an iPhone. You're not picking up that many new customers with iPhone. Like, chances are, if you wanted an iPhone by now, you have an iPhone. So obviously, due to the life cycle of the iPhone in general, and due to the number of different SKUs out there for the iPhone, you're not going to have as much of a demand as you did in the past. And as I said earlier, smartphones have reached their peak anyway. So nobody is craving an iPhone like they were 4 or 5 years ago. So that brings me to what's happening, the news that has happened over the past 48 hours. Actually, no, I shouldn't say. Well, one piece of news happened over the past like 24, 48 hours. The other bit of news happened like back in December. So when you know that iPhones are on the decline and smartphone sales in general are on the decline, talk Viper talk, you have to figure out new ways to make revenue. So obviously the next step in making revenue for smartphone companies and services. A lot of people kind of scratched their heads back in December when Apple Music was made available on Amazon Echo devices. But that was the beginning of Apple's shift into services. Apple now realizes that everybody who has an iPhone has an iPhone. You're not going to sell that many iPhones anymore because we all have them. And like other people were alluding to, smartphones are so good, you don't need to upgrade to a new smartphone every year anyway, because smartphones are so good today. So because you don't need to upgrade as frequently, and because everybody has an iPhone, services is the next area of revenue generation that these companies need to go to. So when Apple announced that Apple Music was coming to the Amazon Echo devices, I wasn't really surprised. I just figured that Apple was just trying to make a new revenue stream, trying to get people with Echo devices to sign up for Apple Music. I don't know how well that's going to work because people that already have like Apple Music have like iOS devices. I don't know if they're going to just sign up for Apple Music because they have an Echo device. I mean, chances are if you have Apple Music, you have an iPhone or an iOS device or something like that, or an Apple device, I should say. So that's that. But there's other news that we found out yesterday or earlier today. I don't know when it came out, but the other news that we found out that's very intriguing is that now Samsung is going to be coming, or they're going to be shipping TVs with iTunes. Whoa, what is that about? Now, this is very interesting. And at the same time, it makes perfect sense from a business standpoint because, again, Apple wants to get their services into as many possible revenue streams as possible. Wait a minute. That didn't sound right. Apple wants to have as many many potential customers as, let me try this again. Apple wants to have as many potential customers as possible as it relates to Apple services. So the fact that iTunes is coming to Samsung TVs is not a shocker. It shouldn't shock anybody. This actually reminds me of the Microsoft business model from the early 90s and even into today. Back when Microsoft was unveiling Windows, or they released Windows, Windows was not a hardware exclusive software. Windows was practically on, I shouldn't say was, Windows is on 90% of the computers in the entire world. And that is Microsoft's business model. It's a lot like Google and Android. Google doesn't care which phones have Android. Android could be on as many phones as the OEM want. Google doesn't care. They just want Android out there. So Apple, in order to generate the maximum amount of revenue that they can via their services, they now know and they realize that their services have to extend far out beyond Apple devices. You cannot generate new revenue tailoring or providing Apple services only for Apple devices. That's not going to work. If you want to reach new markets, if you want to reach new customers, you need to expand the scope of Apple services. And that's what these moves are. It's the beginning of Apple realizing that they have to expand their services to other avenues of revenue, vis-a-vis Amazon Echo devices, vis-a-vis Samsung TV. And I don't think that this is going to stop anytime soon. Because like I said earlier, the iPhone, while it's not dead, it is beginning to die. Make no mistake. The iPhone is beginning to die. It's going to be a slow death, but it's beginning to die. And Apple as a company has to exist after the iPhone dies. So in order to preserve the company, in order to keep making money, they have to locate new avenues of revenue. So in order to do that, they're expanding out to different services like Samsung TVs, like Amazon Echoes. I mean, we already know that Apple Music is on Android devices. I mean, that started a long time ago, a few months ago. So Apple has already been in the process of branching out into different areas, trying to maximize their revenue. So nobody should be surprised that Apple Music is showing up, or Apple, basically Apple different services or different Apple services are showing up on other non-Apple platforms. This trend is going to continue because Apple, it's basically self-preservation at this point. Apple knows that the large amount of the revenue is dying. The 68% of their revenue that they get them, I cannot talk. Hold on. Well, I cannot talk today. Why can I not talk? So, Apple realizes that the iPhone makes up for 68% of their revenue. And that revenue is dwindling fast and in a hurry because the iPhone is slowly dying out. So when Roberto Blake says that the iPhone needs to die, he's basically saying that Apple has to find new sources of revenue because the iPhone is dying anyway. And he's absolutely right. The iPhone is dying. I mean, it's a harsh thing to say. Nobody wants to hear it because the iPhone has been such a factor in the smartphone revolution. But let's be honest, the iPhone is dying. Sales are declining year over year now. And there is a reason why Apple will no longer share iPhone numbers with you all, with the public, whatever, because they don't want to be embarrassed. They know that iPhone sales are declining. They know this already. So that's why they are branching their services out to different non-Apple platforms because they know they need to maximize revenue any way they can. And this is how they're doing it. They're trying to make their Apple services available on as many devices as possible moving forward so they can find new sources of income, new sources of revenue so that they can preserve, so they can then later on work on their next big hardware product. Because make no mistake, just because the iPhone is dying doesn't mean that Apple's going to stop making hardware. That's not happening. Eventually, Apple will come up with a new hardware like source of revenue. They'll make new hardware. They'll still make iPhones. They'll still make MacBooks and Apple TVs and all that crap. But eventually, they're going to have to find a new like cash cow of revenue if that's what they want to do. or they got to start making their software and other services more readily available to other competitors. It is self-preservation at its finest, baby. That's what's going on. It's self-preservation, y'all. That is what's happening here. So the Apple's in full self-preservation mode. They're making their services available to other platforms, and they're preparing for the death of the iPhone because, as much as we don't want to admit it, the iPhone is dying. So we got Sean D. Tech out there. What's up, Sean? How you doing? Oh, we got Perp Minded. What's up, Perp Minded? How you doing, dude? Let's see. Mediocre Tech said Apple had no problem letting the iPhone kill the iPod. The watch will take over the phone at some point. Yep. I think that's the next big area for Apple. They've already made strong headway into healthcare, and their foray into healthcare, and it's gonna come with the Apple Watch, which is already, I mean, between the EKG and between the EKG and the heart monitoring equipment that's on the Apple Watch, Apple's already got a strong foot in healthcare, and they're going to probably lean on that a lot more in the next 5 or 10 years because they have such a strong footing in healthcare with the Apple Watch. So it's happening, man. Oh, we got Stacy out there. What's up, Stacy? How you doing? And LeBaron Burton is looking for Cody Parkey. Why are you looking? Leave that man alone. Cody Parkey's not the reason why the Bears lost that game, dude. Cody Parkey is not the reason. The defense gave it up when they should have held tough. They gave it up. That's on them. And the market's about the Eagles. Yeah, y'all got one, Mark. Y'all got lucky. We'll see what y'all can do with it, though. Stacey just got home from Orlando. Oh, okay. What's up? So, let's see what else is going on. I thought I saw something. No. All right. So, all right. So, anyway. Oh, I don't know what I want to talk about. What else am I going to talk about tonight? Oh, man. I swear, as you get older, things just start to leave. Like, my short-term memory is terrible. My long-term memory is good. My short-term memory is like, terrible. Something else I want to talk about and I forget. Let's see. That's okay. I got it now. I talked about the headphones. I talked about the Bears already. Who cares? That's over with. I talked about Apple. Oh, so the next thing. Hold on. So the next thing I want to talk about per se is I haven't made a final decision. Oh my God, this is a bad start already. Why am I doing it? I have not made a final decision yet, but I have laid the foundation in place to start a podcast. I downloaded the Anchor app and I made a podcast. It's called Vibe Drive. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I've been trying to decide whether or not to do a podcast this year. Seems like everybody's doing podcasts in 2019. That's like the big thing. So I'm strongly considering starting a podcast in 2019. So I set it up on Anchor. I downloaded the Anchor app. I made an account on Anchor. I named the podcast Vibe Drive. And yeah. So basically now it's just me trying to figure out exactly what to do with it. Obviously, it's going to be tech focused as usual because that's my thing. Tech is what I do. So it's going to be a tech podcast, but I just got to figure out what angle do I want to take with it. And then I can go about recording my first episode or whatever. Now, I think Janosim was asking me on Twitter, was I going to do the podcast live here with you guys or just do it by myself? Probably going to be a combination of both. Podcasts are different because it's basically it's all audio. It's no visual. So you have to approach it like nobody is watching you because literally nobody's watching you. So you have to be more descriptive. You have to be more articulate with what you're talking about, things like that. So the podcast is a little different from doing a live stream because y'all can see my actions. You all can see me. I can see you all in the chat and things like that. That's not to say that I wouldn't do a live podcast with you all because I would, because that'd be cool. But I think I will also do podcasts that are not live, that I just sit down and I talk into the microphone and see how it goes. So, yeah, that and that. LeBaron, dude, where have you been for the last like 20 minutes? I was talking about that. Apple has their, I mean, I don't know if I can say Apple partnered with Samsung, but Apple is putting their iTunes into Samsung TV. So I mean, but yeah, that's basically a way for Apple to make more money, more or less. That's about it. It's basically it's self-preservation, dude. Apple is trying to preserve life. They know the iPhone's dying. Like you and Roberto talked about on Friday, the iPhone's dying, and Apple is going into full self-preservation mode. So partnering, as you say, with Samsung is one of the ways they're trying to preserve their company. They're trying to generate new avenues of revenue, basically. So packing iTunes into Samsung TVs is just a new area of revenue, potentially. We'll see. All right, let's see what we got here. What we got? Stacy's gonna start a YouTube channel. Yeah, Stacy, that's what's up. She hasn't decided what the channel's gonna be about, either tech, toy, girly stuff, or gaming. Woo! And of course, we got the Apple jockey saying that I'm crazy for saying the iPhone is dying. I'm not crazy, dude. I see the writing on the wall, bro. The writing is on the wall. Oh, Mark is going to watch NFL Network. Have fun, Mark. Have fun, bro. Have fun. But yeah, Apple jockey, the iPhone's dying, dude. Like, it's dying, bro. Dude, it's been around 10 years, man. It had a good run, but it's dying, bro. It is, man. It is dying, bro. Oh, absolutely, Mr. Catwoman. Y'all can join in. I will send Catwoman the link, and she can come hop in and say hello. You actually both can come and say hello. I have no problem with that. Let me get the link real quick, and we can make that happen. Oh, look at Kat. She just sent me a DM on Twitter. Of course, y'all can come in, man. It's a Google Hangout. I set up as a Hangout specifically so y'all can come in and join. So let me get the link because I have it right here. Chat, I'll copy, and I'm going to shoot the cat couple the link, and we're gonna get it in. All right, let me see what we got. There we go. All right, let's go. So, Mr. and Mrs. Catwoman, you have the link. You know what to do. It is in Catwoman's Twitter DMs. All right, so we got what is this? Oh, Sandman7. What's up, dude? Apple is dying just like the Bears. I don't know about all that, but Apple's not dying, but the iPhone is dying. Apple's not dying, but the iPhone's definitely dying. Mediocre tech says iPhone sales are flat. No more huge spike, even though they still sell millions. Exactly. I think the long dead are the days of iPhone lines and seeing iPhone break records at launch. Those days are over with. I don't think you're gonna see those days no more. Especially because Apple's not making the best decisions on pricing either. How are you going to bring an iPhone out at $1,000 and experience a sales dip, and then the very next year, your answer is to bring out an iPhone that's more expensive? Even though you experienced that dip the year before, your answer is to bring out an iPhone that's more expensive than the one that you just lost sales on the year before. So I really question what the hell they're doing over there at the spaceship. That was not a good business decision. And it's no wonder that they're losing sales when they make dumb decisions like that. Absolutely. It's ridiculous. So what up? So we got Chi-Town Sicario. What's up, dude? What's up? Oh, man. Craziness. Oh, Jeff Market says Apple doesn't support middle-class people. I don't know about all that, dude. Like, the iPhone XR is like priced for pretty much everybody, or not anybody. The iPhone XR is priced for the entry level. I mean, it's not like priced with like a OnePlus, but $750 for an iPhone is crazy to say. Pretty good. Myobi, there's a bunch of dumb decisions that the Bears made, but the biggest problem with the Bears tonight is the defense gave it up like cupcakes. The offense had the game won. The Bears were up 15-10 with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the defense gave it up. That's basically where I'm at with that. That game was not Cody Parkey's fault. Cody Parkey should have never been in that situation to lose the game. The Bears defense should have shut the Eagles down. They didn't. They lost. That is it. It is what it is. Let's see. Mediocre tech says iPhone 8 is still a good deal for the price. Yeah, I think it's like $400 or $500 right now. So yeah, definitely. And the Apple Jockey says the iPhone 10R is the mid-class iPhone. Yep, pretty much. So I don't know. I am not looking at my Google Hangout screen. So Mr. and Mrs. Catwoman, when you get in here, you might want to announce yourself because I won't notice unless you do. I will not know you're here unless you announce yourself. Because I don't touch the Google Hangout screen once I go live because that's problems I don't need. Let's see. Oh, there we go. What's up?
Hey.
Hey.
What's going on?
What's happening? How y'all doing?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Are you feeling a little bit better?
I'm here. I mean, it is. I mean, on the bright side, I was able to cancel DirecTV now, so I saved the money. So hey.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's $40 a month in my pocket. I ain't mad.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Speaking of you canceling DirecTV and then getting it back again when Games of Thrones comes on, I've been thinking so much about Khal Drogo because of the Aquaman movie.
I need to go see that. Damn.
You need to see the Aquaman movie. It's so good.
Yeah, I've heard it's good.
Yeah, you would have spent more. Your money would have been better spent on Aquaman than DirecTV today, probably. Poor guy.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding. So since I got you both here, Mr. Catwoman, are you into tech and Catwoman is, or that's just her?
You know, it's kind of a funny story. It really depends on the time of year, I guess. Like, I'm kind of sort of into tech, and I'm kind of sort of not into tech. Like, you know, I built a computer before, but that was like 10 plus years ago. You know what I mean? Like, but I had a Note 3. That was my first Samsung product.
Ooh, okay.
And then when me and her got together, she saw my Note 3 and she was like, ooh, this is really nice. So got her the Note 4, you know, so I was the one who introduced her into these big flagship phones. She was having this little dinky sidekick with the slide out keyboard. Like she was like, oh, I'm fine with this. It was like 4 years old or something like that at the time. And I had a Note 3. And to be honest, I would have probably still had my Note 3 up until the Note 7 if it never fell into gasoline water.
Ooh.
While I was at work.
Oh.
But you know, me and tech, you know, like I monitor it, but I'm not serious about it. Just like I game, but I'm not serious about gaming or anything like that. You know, I'm more about looking at money, but that goes along with tech too. But you know,
got you. Well, that's pretty cool that you support her passion for tech, dude. That's legit. I like that.
Yeah, well, you can kind of say it's kind of sort of my undercover passion at the same time.
Okay.
But if it was just me by myself, I'd be like, I ain't gonna spend the money. You know, but this is just one of those things. Like even this computer, if you guys check out the Instagram, when she built the computer and stuff like that, I actually had input on the parts and pieces to put in that computer. Like the processor, I think it was the i9. Which one was it? The i9.
Yeah, well, it was the i9.
Yeah, I know it was the i9, but I can't remember which one. It was the i9, the base model, right?
It was
I managed
9700.
to get the 9700. I managed to get the 9780. Because I had to cuss out a certain company because they're being a bunch of dicks. But I managed to get the 9780, and I knew the 9780 was going to be a better deal, but I managed to negotiate the price to where it was almost the price of the 9700. So I was like, you know, that's cool. And I would like to actually have a personal build of mine later on. Almost similar, same specs, but you know, I'd like the 2080 or probably the newest video card whenever I decide to build and shit like that. So I know a little bit about tech. It's just I'm not like all up in it like that.
So you basically you leave all the hardcore tech to her. Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm the dabbler.
You're the dabbler. So Catwoman, what do you think about my my little sermon about the iPhone dying?
I'm upset because I just got an iPhone for the first time, and now for it It's like everything that I touch dies. What's going on here? So, I mean, I was hoping that by me getting an iPhone XR, that it would just only get better. But it's like, okay, I got the iPhone 10R, and then now saying it should die. No, can we please give it a good college try before we let it die?
No, I mean the iPhone. I mean it's not dying anytime soon, but it's definitely in decline. I mean we see the numbers. I mean the numbers don't lie. So that's why you're seeing this slow shift from Apple getting into more and more services and going more and more outside of the walled garden, because they know that the iPhone revenue is beginning to die down, and they got to find new ways to make money.
See, Roberto had it right on Friday night. He basically said, I think it was him. For sure.
It was him.
Roberto.
Oh yeah.
He said that Apple should have invested in manufacturing. Basically, have the 4 little warehouses across the world, 2 in the States, 1 in Europe, and 1 somewhere in Asia. You know what I mean?
Right.
Apple basically pimps out all their shit, and they just bring it all in and put it together, and that's it. But if you look at Samsung and how Samsung is, Samsung pretty much does damn near everything in-house and rarely pimps out any of their shit. If they do pimp out any of their shit, like let's say the Snapdragon, right? The processor, well, Samsung has the Exynos. Samsung does not need Snapdragon, but they still use them because for some god-awful, no-wise reason, for money purposes, I guess. Or maybe the US government gave them a briefcase, but I don't know. But like Apple's just doing for the last 10 years, like even 15 years back, they should have seen the writing on the wall. They should know that it's really the American way. You build the stuff, you manufacture the stuff, you put it together, and you sell the stuff. That's really the American way. But somewhere in the company, they thought that, well, I'll just pimp everything out to like China or Japan and have them do all the research and development and all the manufacturing and shit like that. And then we'll kind of slop it together, but we'll do extreme quality control, which they do have extreme good quality control because they can't knock them down. They got really good phones. It's just, I'm just baffled on the prices that they're coming out with. And that's probably because they have so many hands in the pot.
So here's the thing. Apple, they will die before they manufacture iPhones and stuff in the US. It's not happening unless they absolutely have to, which I don't see a situation where that would happen. But Apple's not manufacturing anything in the US because the cost of labor will be too much, and they're not ready to take them blows. They're not ready because they get away with a lot of BS over in China, whatnot that they simply would not get away with if they manufactured here in the US. So they don't want to incur those extra costs. So that's why you don't see Apple manufacture things in the US.
Well, believe it or not, now with how President Trump's running things and tax incentives and stuff like that, it's getting to be a little bit cheaper now to do manufacturing in the States again, especially logistics wise, because like he wants to put more tariffs on imports and shit like that, but he's also cutting taxes for businesses inside. But like the thing is, my thing is like Apple. I don't know what Apple was doing. I guess Apple thought that everything was going to be online and they were just going to work online without having to have any type of brick and mortar building, but it's just so weird, how they do things. Like, I don't know. I just don't know about them.
Well, the problem is the way they do things is to maximize revenue. That's basically ever since Steve Jobs passed away, the Apple core beliefs and values have resonated on making the most amount of money possible. And that's starting to come back to bite them in the ass because, like I said, everybody who has an iPhone. And with them inserting this hubris and they're steady raising the price of iPhones, thinking that people are going to keep buying iPhones when everybody already has an iPhone and nobody wants to pay $1,000 for a smartphone anyway. It's just like, no, Apple, the hubris is gonna fuck you up. I got there last week. I got there Friday. It's just like my man Marcellus Wiley said in Pulp Fiction. You know that feeling that you got? That's that pride fucking with you. And Apple pride is fucking with them because they don't realize that nobody cares about their pride. So, it is what it is. So, if Apple keeps resting on their laurels, resting on their hubris, that pride is gonna eat them alive, man. They got to figure it out.
No, it's not pride. It's more greed.
Pride, greed, whatever you want to call it. Hey, it's one of the things.
The problem with Apple is they think for tomorrow. After Steve Jobs died. After Steve Jobs died and everything, and he left. All they think about is tomorrow and how to make that $1 million tomorrow. You know, they're not thinking about how to make that $1 trillion over the next 10 years. They just want $1 million tomorrow. And that's where they're going to fail if they do not turn that around. Like, what they might have to do is do a dumbed down size of the 10XR with a little bit of tech in it just to get some funds in so that they could do something to reinvent the smartphone. Maybe they add a DeX feature to their phone or something like that. Like, their OS is so good. Like, why doesn't it have a DeX feature? You know what I mean? That would change their game like in an instant, because then they can actually market more towards business people and probably do something with their iPads and their iMac Pro, like have everything more and more linked together and stuff like that. You know, it's just crazy. Did we freeze?
Did we?
Oh, it's Viper that froze.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure he'll come on. He'll come back on. It's still the same link. Oh, it's telling you to keep going, Mr.
Oh, I totally forgot what I was saying. But anyways, Apple needs to think about 10, 15 years down the line. They probably need to take 3 steps back and look back at themselves and then start back up again.
Oh man, Viper
man,
lost
lost power.
Okay.
Poor guy. He lost power. Lost the game today. Lost his DirecTV.
So no, that was a good thing. The DirecTV thing was a good thing.
Supposedly. I couldn't live without it, even though I only look at DirecTV 4 hours a week. Oh my goodness. Well, waiting for people to join the video call. Wow. Well, I guess we'll keep things going.
No, we can't.
Oh, we're not in?
No. It's done.
Oh, the live stream's done?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's done. Okay.
No, we're still up.
Oh, we are live.
Yeah, we are live.
Oh, we're still live. Okay.
See, I told you. I'm like,
okay, Viper. Do you want us to get off so that way, when your power comes back on, then we could just hop back on. You could hear us.
Yeah,
okay.
Viper can still hear us.
Yeah, you want us to get off, Viper? No, stay on.
Stay on.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Well, this is Viper Live, everybody, starring Mr. and Mrs. Catwoman.
For now.
For now.
His power should come back on.
His power will be coming back on real soon. I know he came on first to talk about the poor game. I personally didn't see it. I was kind of watching it, but I was playing video games. And it's messed up how that happened. Also, Apple, the iPhone must die. Yeah, the iPhone must die. But it needs to be resurrected. It needs to become a phoenix. So they need to come out with an iPhoenix. That's what they need to do.
Ooh,
I'm calling it now. In 2 years, the iPhone will be the iPhoenix 1. It'll be badass, 6.4-inch screen. It'll have a DeX feature. It'll be able to link with iPad, iMac. It'll be amazing. Plus, in 2 years, Apple's going to buy LG so they can start manufacturing most of their shit. Oh, my bad. I cut. Sorry about that, y'all.
He's not gonna get demonetized. He doesn't have 1,000 subscribers on this one.
Oh, I still I
Well,
don't
if you're
cuss
here,
though.
subscribe.
I don't cuss though. Just to let y'all know, I really don't cuss.
TAJ said it's the ecosystem. Yeah, but okay, so this is something that Mr. Cavalman has talked about for a long time, which is getting Apple buying LG, so that what Samsung is doing, where they're going to integrate all their products, have Bixby, they'll do the same thing with Siri, and they'll have, you could basically have like an iHome, like a complete iHome system. Oh, you're back, Viper.
Ah, check that out. That was weird. Like the power just surged and then everything was cut off. I'm like, all right, that was crazy.
LeBaron wants to come on.
Yes, LeBaron. That's a cool dude.
Yeah, let me get him the link. Somebody still works. All right, just minimize that. Just minimize that. All right, let me go back to the screen here. All right, cool. So now I can go back to my Twitter here. So yeah, I was in the middle of after you all were in the middle of talking, and then bam, surge just happened, and everything got cut off. I'm like, all right, that's interesting.
Don't worry, Vibe. We held it down for you. I'm starting to get used to the live stream stuff.
Oh, okay, okay.
Did you see that LG's coming out with an 88-inch TV that has 8K on it?
Which, is it actually coming out though, or is it a concept?
No, like they want to come out with it.
Oh, okay. Probably gonna cost an arm.
I believe they could do it. All right.
So, LeBaron, you got the link. Send your Twitter DMs. You know what to do, dude. That's when I'll lose power again. I don't know what that was about.
Is there a storm in your area?
No, nothing going on. What's up, man?
LeBaron.
How's everybody doing?
What are you doing?
I just got back in. I was out looking for Cody, but Viper talked me out of it.
Man, that's a long call, bro. You wasted time with that.
Wait, how many yards was he out to do that last field goal?
It was like a 40-something yard. It wasn't even that long. It was like 40-something yards, 43 yards, I think.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Vipe. I know the defense messed up, but still, that's what we pay the kicker for. Save our butts.
Yeah, but he should never been in that position to mess up anyway. So.
Yeah, but you get paid for when that position happens. We need you to come through.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you there, but like I said,
just get him like last week or something like that.
Oh, he's been on the team all year.
Yeah, he's been hitting the pole the poles all year long.
Oh shoot!
One game he hit him four times in a row.
Yep.
Wow.
4 times he hit the doink. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. And I was on Facebook talking mad junk about the Bears.
Well, the Bears, they should have won.
I'm scared to go on Facebook now.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. So, before I lost power, we were talking about the iPhone dying and Apple trying to find new sources of revenue. And now that iTunes is on Samsung TV, I guess this is the beginning of Apple shifting their focus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man, I'm worried because
we talked about this a lot on Friday with Roberto.
Yeah, I'm worried at the fact that they really need some type of innovative stimulant, and I don't think the regime that's there now has it in them. I honestly don't.
Yeah, we know how you feel about Tim Cook.
Yeah. You know, it starts at the head and it trickles down. And everybody, everybody that supports Apple the way that they do has to realize that you don't have the same engineers that originally created the iPhone. Those engineers have been poached left and right. Half of those engineers are at Tesla. BMW. Some of them are even at Google. So
everyone that first created Siri is gone. The
gone.
last person that worked for Siri was last there in 2017.
Right. And that's why Siri has gone nowhere. It's like I'm worried. I'm really worried. I come off as an Apple hater, but the problem is I expect a whole lot more out of Apple. And Tim Cook ain't it. He ain't it. He ain't it. If I'm a board member, I'm saying, hey, you know what? Let's get rid of this guy and let's beg Elon over here. Let's buy Tesla and pull Elon, because that's the type of.
Well, Baron, that's not going to happen. And the reason why that's not going to happen is because for the reason that you already alluded to, the shareholders don't give a monkey's nipple about that. All the shareholders care about is making them dollar bills. And Tim Cook is the man that's making them dollar bills. So as long as Tim Cook is making them dollar bills, the shareholders are going to be happy, and Tim Cook is going to have a job.
Yeah, but see, everybody's saying that they're making the dollar bills, but see, that's being short-sighted in the long term view. It's being short-sighted for the simple fact that, all right, we're saying they're still making money, but they're losing money too. Okay, because the dumbest thing that Tim Cook could have done in the last 2 years is go to war with Qualcomm. That was like the stupidest thing that he could have done in the last 2 years. Because now, not only do your current phone sales are terrible, you can't even sell the old stuff that you can make for cheap. Mm-hmm. It's been banned in Germany. Okay, India, I believe, has been banned. Yep. All right. And those are only phones that you have that you can sell to those markets, because those markets aren't going to buy. The XR is too expensive for those markets.
Yeah, that's very true. I noticed the difference because when I have my Note 9 and my 10R together, the 10R always has the worse reception than the Note 9.
Yeah, and in past, the iPhone was always quicker than any of the Notes. You know, so I'm worried.
Yeah, there's a bigger reason to be worried too, because like let's say if Apple falls completely in the next 2 years, that means Samsung is king supreme 1, 2, and 3. You can't expect LG to come up into the spot. So Samsung could then dictate and do whatever the hell they want, which they could hold innovation back for the world for the next 10 years, because Apple is not there to push Samsung, because Samsung has pushed Apple, but also Apple pushed Samsung. But you see where Samsung came, they got pushed so hard, they starting to push back. Now they're pushing back so hard, Apple's like, well, damn, I'm just going to go off a reputation off the iPhone 1 and call it a day. But you can't go off for that reputation for so long. You know what I mean? So, like, what probably drastically needs to happen is Apple probably needs to become a private company and get rid of all the shareholders and have one owner, and one owner who is looking to innovate and go for it. But I know that will never happen, because there's nobody in the world that has enough money to buy Apple right now. There might be two.
Not at all.
You guys realize that Apple, what is this, about 4 years ago, had the opportunity, and they probably still could do it. So, like, earlier I mentioned this whole thing with them and Samsung and bringing the Apple services to the Samsung television, okay? Now, if I was going to be arrogant and let my pride get in the way, I would not let that happen, okay? I don't think Steve Jobs would let that happen right now, even in the position that they're in, for this very reason. Apple had the opportunity to purchase a company called Lova. I don't know if anybody knows who Lova is. Lova is they were like the gurus in HD television. Apple had Germany. Lova. It's LOWE, but it's pronounced Lova. They were like before we started to get flat screens, they had They had high definition television. Their televisions has been producing an HD signal, man, all the way back to the early 90s. Okay. And their televisions were modulated, meaning that you could upgrade their television by simply replacing the chip in the back of the television, right? When they got blackballed by the U.S. because the rest of the television companies were like, look, you know, this television will cause us, basically all the rest of the television companies, Zenith at the time, GE, they all wanted to sell old technology. All right. So Apple just had the opportunity, and this company has gotten awards and awards. You just look them up on Google, you'll see. Apple had the opportunity to purchase them. They did not. Okay. And they came out with Apple TV. Apple TV was the result of that decision. That was the ultimate of what they came out with. Okay, so you had to, now had they bought Lova at that time, who were really was leading the industry in their technology, had they bought them, they would be competing with Samsung right now in their services. Okay, but the thing is you got a company leader who does not know how to innovate. And he's only going to do what he's comfortable doing, and that's moving numbers. The whole introducing 3 phones this year, he's just shifting numbers to make it look good for shareholders, and it's biting them in the butt.
What are you talking about?
Robbing Peter to pay Paul at this point.
What are you talking about? Samsung Thursday. What Thursday does Samsung have? What am I missing here?
Well, it's what I'm saying is not that okay. So Samsung is one of your arch enemies, all right? Your arch rivals. It's bad enough that you have to buy your screens from Samsung. So Samsung is competing against you. So just think about it. Samsung is competing against you. And if you sell a boatload of phones, you're still strengthening Samsung. Okay, so Samsung can't lose in that. So now you double down on dumb. Okay, and in order for you to get your services out there, guess what? You're putting your services on a Samsung television. That doesn't do anything but empower Samsung. Because all the Apple sheep out there are like, hey, I'm going to buy me a Samsung television, not an LG. I'm going to go buy me a Samsung. Your enemy. So now you just put Samsung in your walled garden. You just let a cancer in.
I don't know if it quite works that way, but I kind of understand and I don't kind of understand where you're wrong.
No, it's like let's think like 2 packs of dogs, right? No, let's have dogs and cats, right? Dogs and cats are enemies. They fight each other. But all of a sudden, let's say a dog starts taking care of kittens. Well, that dog that's taking care of the kittens is going to imprint on them, and then the kitten's going to start following that dog and helping out that dog's pack, and will forget about that cat's family. You see what I mean? That's what flipping Apple's doing. Yeah. That's why I say Apple needs to do their in-house stuff. Roberta was completely right with the whole manufacturing, because they're just too bloody independent on people. You know what I mean? Like in this world, I have a saying: is DTA. You don't trust anybody. At the end of the day, you can always trust the other person to look out for themselves. So Apple's trusting Samsung, but Samsung's like, I really don't care about you, but you give me money. But at the end of the day, you strengthening me, so it's all about me. So that's the problem with Apple.
Yeah.
Apple cannot sustain what they're doing now for the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. Samsung can do it. Samsung can probably have 2-3 off years and still come out ahead 20 years down the line, $1 trillion richer than Apple.
Exactly. And the thing is one of the slickest things that Steve Jobs did to get everyone, because I was an Apple fanboy when Steve Jobs came back to the company. Okay. And one of the slickest things that he did to get people the awareness about Apple products, all right, and this is before the iPhone, was allowing iTunes to be installed on your normal and regular desktop. Okay. And then everybody was like, man, this works smooth. I like this, you know. That made them inquire a little bit more about other Apple products. So now, okay, you already know how the Apple sheep are, okay. If Samsung is producing a television that has the Apple services on it, and LG doesn't have it, and Vizio and whoever else doesn't have it, they're going to go out and buy a Samsung television. But guess what? I have Samsung televisions, and I'm a Note person. And Samsung's products work pretty seamless with each other.
Yes, that smart things is amazing. I got 2 Samsung phones. As soon as I walk in the door, boom, the TV pops up on my phone. I could start doing remote control of my remote controlling the TV with my phone right away. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? It makes me want to, as a matter of fact, it's going to be a long-term plan, but I'm planning on trying to changing out all my appliances to Samsung because I like this Samsung experience. Because like, hell, I could check the temperature of my refrigerator with my phone. I could see if the oven's on, you know, safety reason, if it's on and shit like that. I could turn on the microwave. Only thing I need is a little drone inside the house to move shit around and move it into stuff. But you know, it's a wonderful thing. Samsung's ecosystem is an actual true ecosystem.
We'll actually end up having like a Samsung home, like a real Samsung home.
Yeah.
And now you
Apple
see,
has an ecosystem.
and
Apple
you see,
has an ecosystem, but it's not a true ecosystem with different hardware. You see
exactly.
what I mean? Samsung's software has hardware to back it up. Apple does not have the hardware to back up the software. There we go.
Exactly. And that's the thing that everybody's missing. You just let the enemy into your account. Okay, it's an old fable or whatever they used to tell. An old lady out in the winter, she's shoveling her snow. She hits something. There's a snake. You know, the snake is almost dead. The snake begs her, "Look, if you bring me in it, I promise I won't bite you." And little old lady goes, "You got to promise you won't bite me." They go in there and they're living together harmlessly. Okay. 3 years down the line, the lady goes to sit down in her chair to sew a quilt, and she has a prick on her butt. She looks down, it's the snake. The snake bites her. She goes, "You promised that you wouldn't bite me." He goes, "You knew I was a snake when you brought me in."
Time out, man. Y'all completely losing me because it sounds like y'all feel like people are going to go out and buy Samsung TV because they have iTunes on them, and that shit's not happening.
No, it's not that. It's not that. They just gave, okay, so putting Apple services on a Samsung, your arch enemy. Okay, now if I was going to do it, I would have done it to LG. Because LG, you ain't got to worry about LG with no telephones for a long time.
That's what I've been preaching for a year now.
Right. So LG, the only thing that they can really truly do right is appliances and televisions. And really, television's better than the appliances. Okay. So if I'm going to partner with somebody, I'm going to partner with LG for the simple fact that Samsung has proven to you that they don't care about you. Okay. They will go to court with you. They will copy your services, copy your product. All right. And we'll just battle it out in court because I got just as much money as you do. All right. So why would you empower them? Because it's a marketing strategy. Apple services on a Samsung television makes Apple sheep buy Samsung televisions and gives Apple sheep the opportunity to see how seamless Samsung products work together. It's the same thing.
No. Apple sheep are not buying Samsung TV because of iTunes. Apple sheep already have iTunes. Why would they need to buy Samsung TV for iTunes? Let me tell you what this does. The only thing that this does really is bring in Android users into the Apple ecosystem with iTunes. That's what this does. This does not affect Apple sheep. They're not buying Samsung TV because of iTunes, because Apple sheep have iTunes already. What are you talking about? Come on, man.
No. You're living in a world of the smart home, right? That's the thing. Everyone, we're in the first generation of the smart home. Okay, so now it's going to be the race to have. Why do you think Samsung is doubling down on Bixby? Okay, because everyone knows that it's the company that has more than 2, 3, 4 devices in the home. All right. So the thing is you're still marketing. Samsung's devices work well together. Okay, so if I buy a Samsung television because I can use my Apple services, because this is the open door to that. All right, people actually judge that. The last television that I bought, I didn't buy it because it didn't have YouTube TV built into it. I use YouTube TV. So, I bought a Samsung that had YouTube TV built into it.
Yeah, but you are in the minority. Like people, I don't think most people buy a TV because of whether or not YouTube TV built in. They're not doing that. And just like this, nobody buying Samsung TV because of iTunes. That's not happening.
Yeah, they are, because when they realize that they have to buy another adapter, like a Chrome or like a one of those Fire 6 or Chrome OS, then they get frustrated because it works today, but it doesn't work tomorrow. So a lot of people, when they buy TVs now, they're smart enough to say, I want one that's specifically a smart TV, because they want the apps built in.
Yeah, exactly. Like with Viper, I can see where you're coming from, that you're just totally baffled by what we're saying about Apple sheep is buying Samsung TVs for the iTunes. But here's the thing. Apple is thinking exactly how you're thinking. If iTunes goes on a Samsung television, the enemy, then maybe that person who bought that TV is going to like, ooh, iTunes is pretty nice, but I can't get it on my phone, so I'm going to go ahead and buy me an Apple phone to get into that ecosystem, to use iTunes. So Apple's probably most likely thinking it's going to be a selling point, a gateway to get them into their phones. But that's not what's going to happen, unfortunately, because Samsung is so, Apple is so dependent on Samsung for good hardware. It's too late for Apple to do the whole software thing, the software voodoo with Samsung. That is just the way it is. But
if it starts with iTunes, it's not going to stop.
Yeah,
they're going to start integrating other.
They're going to start. Apple is going to try to put more things into it, but Samsung's the smart one, because Samsung's like, man, I'm going to get iTunes on my TVs. Apple people going to be like, oh hell, I could get iTunes on my TV with my surround sound now. They're going to sell more TVs because of Apple Music. Because more and more people are getting surround sounds in their households. A lot of people are getting, with the whole entertainment center thing put up. But it's most likely, there's a good possibility, I would say a 75% chance that that's going to backfire on Apple, and Samsung's going to come out on top again. You see what I mean? So
yeah, it has a bigger chance.
Right, they should have went with LG. If you guys checked out last year's Saturday Night live stream, I believe I came on there and I said that Apple needs to buy LG. I've been saying that for a year now. If Apple buys LG, it's going to be game over for Samsung. And Samsung's going to have to totally rebrand, because they wouldn't be able to compete with that, because LG already has the infrastructure in for manufacturing. They already have the infrastructure in for houses with the appliances and TVs and whatnot. Apple does not have that. And for Apple to actually get into that, that's the only way they're going to be able to get into it, is by buying another company. They're not going to spend $500 billion on research and development and manufacturing to try to get appliances out now. It's too late for them to do that. The only way they could do that is by buying somebody else.
And
that's how Apple's going to really prosper right there.
Yeah, you just hit it on the head. And that, to me, if Tim Cook was the competitive, innovative, fearless leader that Apple needs, that's the type of moves, that's the type of gutsy move that would be made. Buy LG. Buy LG and tell Samsung to bring it. Because right now, Apple can't truly compete with Samsung in what Samsung does. Because Samsung does everything, okay? Apple is a 3-trick pony. They're not down to a 1-trick pony yet. They're a 3-trick pony. Their 3 tricks are iOS, Mac OS, and no, I give them 2.5 tricks because their hardware is questionable now. Because they've gotten black eyes on everything that they produced in the last 2 or 3 years. So Samsung, they build the screens, they build processors. You know, you got to look at it. LG used to be Samsung's biggest competitor in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you not buy LG and compete? Compete in the smart home market, because that's where everything is going. Everything is going toward the smart home. It's just a few people. Yes, we're a minority now, but the tech community is always a minority at first until it jumps off.
I just want to let everyone know this is not really a bashing of Apple, even though it sounds like it. Samsung has its problems too.
Yeah.
But Samsung recognizes the problem. Sometimes it'll take a year or two, but they'll recognize their problem and fix it and then go to town. Like everyone's knocking them about this whole foldable phone thing. Well, I think the foldable phone thing, that's a brave, big-ass move by a big-ass company. You know, they probably don't even know if it's going to sell 100 million or 100,000. That's the type of moves Apple needs to do to get somewhere. They need to take a 100-foot jump instead of a 10-foot jump to be successful.
Yeah, I agree.
So I just read a little bit more on this, and I understood this wrong. So apparently, iTunes is coming to 2018 and 2019 Samsung TV. So I don't know why I thought it was going to be on like all Samsung Smart TV, but it's not. It's only going to be on the ones that are out in 2018 or the ones coming in 2019. So I guess in a way you guys are right that some people are going to be buying more Samsung TVs because of iTunes. But I don't know if this necessarily hurts Apple. Well, only in the fact that they'll probably sell less Apple TV, but Apple TV wasn't really selling that much anyway to begin with. So I'm not sure if that's that big of a hit, but it's a win-win. I mean, Apple doesn't lose in this situation. Samsung and Apple both win. Samsung sells more TVs, Apple gets more services revenue out of being on Samsung TV. So this is a win-win for everybody, really.
Do you think they're gonna do it with LG soon?
Yeah, I think. Actually, no. Well, actually, I think the iTunes thing is exclusive to Samsung, but I know that Apple is planning to bring AirPlay 2 to Samsung TVs and other manufacturers as well. So I'm guessing AirPlay 2 is probably going to be on LG TV too at some point. I'm guessing since they're the other big TV manufacturer out there.
Well, understand how Samsung does business. Trust me, Samsung has given themselves a nice head start on a contract. I guarantee you Samsung has at least a year or 2 years out. The same thing they did with Qualcomm and the Snapdragon. Look, we're the first ones to market with it for at least 2 years.
Yeah, but like that's all good. Well, but like I said, just iTunes being on Samsung TV doesn't really hurt Apple. It just makes Apple more money, basically.
It makes them more money up front, and that's the problem. It's like Roberto was saying. This is a chess game. Okay, so it makes them more money up front right now. It stops the bleeding, and which is why they made this move. That's why I said it was a desperation move. It stops the bleeding for now. But it's like medication. You know how these pharmaceutical companies give you something, and then in the fine print, may cause this, may cause this, may cause this, may cause. this is one of those cases. Take 2 of these, call me in the morning, and then 3 months later, you'll be taking 4 of these.
I don't know, man. I mean, you got to believe that Apple is working on something in their lab. So even you might see this as a short-term thing, but I'm pretty sure Apple's working on something long-term. I mean, we know that Apple is working on their own dedicated original streaming TV service, so that's coming down the pipe at some point too. Now, if it's going to come in 2019, we don't know, but we know that Apple's working on Netflix-like competitor and things like that. So, are they really going to be putting iTunes TV or iTunes on Samsung TV for a long period of time? I don't know. We shall see.
Yeah, but they're working on a service. You got a service with no hardware, and you compete with a television hardware company. Think about it. All you have is a service.
They have Apple TV, dude.
Yeah, but exactly. Apple TV needs a Samsung TV to be viable.
No, it doesn't. Why does it need a Samsung TV to be viable?
Who's the leader in the television market?
Just because they're the leader doesn't mean they're the only game in town, dude. There's a bunch of TV manufacturers out there. What are you talking about?
No, what I'm saying is Apple TV by itself is useless. Okay. Whereas you've got Samsung, who is going to surely copy and emulate what Apple does. And when they do it, it will be implemented in their hardware. Apple has not been smart enough to buy them a manufacturer of televisions, okay, to build their own smart TV.
All right, first off, Samsung cannot copy and emulate what Apple's done with iTunes because that's just a whole bunch of work that Samsung ain't got the time to be putting in. It's not happening. So
no, you're talking iTunes. I'm talking about the streaming services with the partnerships with the with the streaming services and things for video and things like that.
The same, yeah. I mean, do you really think Samsung's going to have their own streaming service? I don't know about all that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that.
I wouldn't put it past Samsung, but you got to look at it like this too. Apple is operating like a small business with a small mind.
Wow.
That is my problem right now. They are operating as a small business with a small mind. They have all these resources and all of these leverages, but they're thinking small. Look at Samsung. Samsung is a big business with a big mind. Now, you got to think like the Samsung ecosystem, right? Everything is connected. So whatever Apple will try to partner with Samsung will copy, and Samsung will be able to put it on all its devices. Am I correct in saying that an iPad OS and the iPhone OS is a little different, right?
Wait, what? What's that again?
No, they both use iOS.
No, they both use iOS, but they're not like compatible.
They both use iOS.
Yeah,
but
they're the same. They're the same OS.
They're the same thing, dude.
Yeah, they're the same OS. Just sometimes the developer gets like the dimensions wrong and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you can use a pen on an iPad, but you can't use a pen on their phone.
Oh yeah, and then the multitasking ability. Yeah, that's exclusive to the iPad.
Samsung's different. What I could do on my phone, I could do on the tablet. You know what I mean? What I could do on a tablet, I could do on the Chromebook and stuff like that. I could do it all on all the Samsung products. You know, Samsung has got their infrastructure into where when they implement something, it will go across all hardware right away, just like that. Apple seems to have a problem just trying to get a pen to work on a phone and their iPad. You know what I mean? So like, who's going to win out in that scenario?
And it's not that they have a problem. Apple doesn't want to do it because Apple wants to force you. Apple's thought process is like this. If you want this experience, you have to add this on to your arsenal. Okay? You got the iPhone. All right. We're not going to give you the pen for the iPhone. That's what our iPad is for. Okay. And they'll do all the marketing and they'll say, oh, it does this, it does backflips, it does cartwheels, and it's got a 5,000 horsepower engine. Okay, but you're gonna have to buy the iPad to do it, and we're gonna charge you an extra $300 for us just saying this.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're like I said, they're doing everything like a small. Well, oh, I need to elaborate on the small business thing. When you're LeBaron, I'm pretty sure you could attest to this. When you're a small business, you try to leverage everything that you got to get where you get to go. And your time, your personal time is very important to you. So for accounting purposes, you get an accountant. You contract that out. You 1099 them. You know what I mean? You have a delivery truck that brings in your popcorn. You 1099 them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how Apple's doing their stuff. They're 1099 damn near everything.
Yeah.
And it is caught up to them. It is caught up to them now, and they're in their whole entire innovation. Because if they could just come together, if one person was to own the company and change the whole entire culture of Apple, I'll give them 2 years and they'll come back strong and unbelievably strong and probably make twice as much money as they are right now. Because when you have a mindset, you're working for a company and you know you're going to get benefits and it's a family atmosphere and stuff like that. You know, everything is gravy. You make money, the company makes money, the boss makes money. You know what I mean? But it takes a long time to get to that point. But for some odd reason, Apple thinks that they just need to pimp out everything and call it a day. Like even look at Amazon. Like Amazon now, they're having a whole bunch of contract work with their logistics, with their semi trucks, bringing trucks to trucks, and their actual delivery drivers and stuff like that. But they're now starting to get a little bit more uniformed, like how FedEx and UPS are. Even though they're still doing a contract work, but they're demanding certain things of those contractors to be more, more of their what's that word? Not lifestyle, but like their culture. You see what I mean? Like if I was to go, if anyone doesn't know, I'm a truck driver. If I was to go work for FedEx, I'll be working for a contractor. But FedEx demands that contractor have they give them a list of demands that they have to do all the time. I would have to wear a FedEx uniform. Even though I'm not technically a FedEx employee, I would have to wear a FedEx uniform. I would have to have the FedEx logo all over the truck and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure at some point in time, FedEx is going to get to the point to where, we're making so much money, we'll just get rid of contractors and bring everyone in this company, which is what they normally do because drivers actually jump ship once an opening happens. But with Apple, they're just
I
a
agree.
hot mess. Like even Samsung was a hot mess too with their software updates because it was really annoying that last year for about 3-4 months, no updates. But they did say in their keynote address sometime last year, they did say that things were going to change and that they were going to start bringing out more updates frequent. And since I want to say October for sure, my Note 8 and S8 Plus have been getting updates on the regular.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So they noticed that there was a problem and they're trying to fix it. Apple knows there's a problem and what are we fixing? When are we going to fix it?
And then the most successful thing that Apple has done in the last, I'd say, 10 years has been their processor, which that was a Steve Jobs decision. Look, Intel can't get it done. We're going to build our own processors. You build your own processors, but that's it. And that's the most successful thing that you have right now is the processor.
I think y'all might be selling Apple a little short. I'm just saying. You don't become $1 trillion company by not knowing what the hell to do next. I am pretty sure there are big brains at Apple working on these shortfalls.
But didn't they lose like $300 billion or something like that? $200 billion after they got the $1 trillion mark?
Right. Right.
And they'll make that money back up. They'll get back there. They'll be all right.
The $1 trillion company speaks to how much of a GOAT Steve Jobs really was. He just didn't live to see the harvest or the collect on the harvest that he of the field that he planted. Everything that Apple has built on to get to that trillion was built. That's on the back of the stuff that Steve Jobs put in place.
Also, Apple made decisions that Steve Jobs wouldn't necessarily made either, so it's not all on the back of Steve Jobs. Obviously, the iPhone, the foundation of the iPhone is Steve Jobs, yeah, but some of the decisions, like moving to a bigger iPhone, Steve Jobs wouldn't necessarily make, because he was all for the smaller form factor. So if Steve Jobs was still alive, there would never have been an iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, because we wouldn't have got bigger iPhones. So
everybody keeps saying that because those were the last words that they heard him say. But he also said that, okay, in order to get it right, you listen to the customer. The customer will always tell you. This comes out of Steve Jobs' mouth. And at that point, the customers were saying, look, we want a 6-inch screen. Everybody else has a 6-inch screen. We want one. So going to his theory and his thought process, he would have caved. But I guarantee you, when he came with that 6-inch screen, it would have come, in a different, it wouldn't just been a 6-inch screen, because that's all they did was just give a 6-inch screen. They didn't optimize the screen real estate to do anything extra other than give you a bigger one. That's it.
The beauty of Steve Jobs is that he was able to predict customer needs before the customers knew they needed. So to say that Steve Jobs would have caved is a little out there, when Steve Jobs was the one that was dictating what customers needed in the first place. So Steve Jobs was a visionary, man. Steve Jobs was able to predict wants and needs before people knew they wanted and needed it. So I don't know if we could just sit here and say that Steve Jobs would have been swayed by customer demand one way or another, when he was the one setting the tone for the consumer electronics industry since 2007.
Right, but what he explained how he came to that. He came to that by having his ear to the ground with the customer. And I mean, so that's not really, that's what I'm saying is, if the consumers were telling him that they want a 6-inch screen and iPhone sales would start to slow, trust me, Steve Jobs was going to come with something. But when he came with it, he was going to come in with it in an innovative way that was going to separate itself from everyone else. They did it. Apple did it. They made a decision. I don't even think that was I don't even think it was a decision that they had to make. It was a decision that was made for them. Because if Apple had came out with another 5.8 screen, trust me, you were going to get a lot of people abandoning ships. Like if Apple didn't have a 6-inch screen when Samsung came out with the Infinity display, there was going to be some problems. They wouldn't have made $1 trillion this year and lost 300 billion, or however much they lost.
Now you see, I don't think Steve Jobs alone would have made that decision to move up to a bigger screen. I think any businessman with common sense would have went that way. Because if you see the river rolling south, and one person's going south, but everyone else is going north, and Apple's the one leading the north charge, but then the next thing you know, everyone starts turning around, Apple's going to be like, damn, I'm all alone. Well, I guess I'll go south too, but then I want to lead the south charge. So I'm going to come out, I'm going to do something big, so I could be on top of that game, like I was on top of the game going north. It's really more common business sense at that point. I don't have a business degree or anything like that, but just the tea leaves are all there. Apple's in trouble unless they have something fantastic. Maybe they're coming out. Maybe they're going to jump Samsung on the whole different type of displays, because Samsung's coming out with that foldable display, but they're supposed to come out with a couple of other types of display. And the one display I'm looking forward to is a stretchy display. And they really did not talk about it when they did their whole entire announcement of what's happening this year with the new foldable iPhone X. But that right there to me will be Samsung's biggest accomplishment if they could have a stretchy screen. Because just think like football tonight. You know how the quarterbacks have their codes for different plays and stuff like that wrapped around their arm. Well, what if it's wrapped around the arm real tight and it's a touch screen? And they could just flip through that shit real quick. You know what I mean? Like that would be flipping amazing. That's where I think that's where Samsung's going. Right there.
I think Apple has that patent, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't Apple get patent that about 4 years ago?
I have no idea.
Who knows? There's a bunch of patents out there, and who knows? Some of them need a light of day, some of them don't. But I think the main point I'm trying to make is that y'all trying to write Apple off like they're about to die in like 2 years, and
no. I'm not writing them off like that. Honestly, I think Apple is going to die the death of a million paper cuts. It's going to take longer than 10 years, but they're going to, if mark my words, if they don't start to do something stellar, because when you're at the caliber of what Apple is, when you do something, it's going to have to be top notch. It's going to have to set you apart from the rest of the pack. Okay. Right now, Apple has been going on the history. Okay. I'm in the popcorn business. All right. My biggest competitor is Garrett's. Garrett's popcorn is crap. I know it as you know, I know it as someone in the field. Okay. But Garrett's has the benefit of having the legendary Chicago style popcorn. So people all over the world, they automatically think Garrett's when they think Chicago and they think popcorn. The greatest thing that I could do that I won't be able to do, because Garrett was smart enough not to, they were smart enough to have a non-compete disclosure with their landlords. The greatest thing I could do is put a store right next door to Garrett's. Because now, you see what I'm saying? So the thing about Apple is what's happened. Apple has not done anything. Most of the stuff that Apple has done lately has been uplifted and credited by people that already have money, so much money vested in Apple. And don't get me wrong, Apple makes great products. They make great, solid products. But the problem is the products have dropped in quality. Okay, there's no innovation. Most of what they're doing is competing. Apple never had to compete. They led the charge in most of what they did. And I don't. If someone can name something that Apple has led the charge in, other than the customer experience with the whole how everything works seamlessly together and the ecosystem. Tell me what they lead the charge in. And don't mention the EKG on the Apple Watch. That's probably the most innovation that they've done in the last 5 years. I'll give them that. I will give them credit on that. The EKG and the Apple Watch, stellar. Problem is you have to have an iPhone and everything else for it to work.
Apple leads with the notch.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, I honestly believe that Samsung and Apple are both sides of the same coin, to be honest with you. I mean, they're bound to get in bed at some point in time. They keep doing this dance. So I just wanted to say that. Like, to me, they're the same. I just feel like Samsung doesn't dig into my pockets as deep as Apple does. That's all.
I'm about to say they're already in bed. They've been in bed. Samsung has been making the OLED display for the iPhone 10, so they've already been in bed. Now they got this partnership with Samsung.
This will they, won't they dance for like ever?
Yeah, but they've been in bed. They've been in bed since the iPhone 10, more or less. So yeah.
Yeah, right now, I mean, Apple, they're giving a little bit more to Samsung. We'll see if the tea leaves show us that it's not going to keep going in that direction. Hopefully not. Hopefully they'll get some sense in. But right now, they just keep going in a decline. So,
yeah. I'm just outdone that Microsoft builds better hardware than Apple. I'm sorry. I'm the last 3 products that Microsoft has come out with have been like home runs. If Microsoft didn't have Windows 10 and OS 10, Mac OS was on Microsoft hardware, there would be problems. There would be some serious problems.
But it's not.
That's what Apple needs to do. Apple, this is what they need to do. The iPhoenix, this is what I call it. Their next generation of phone. It needs to be, I want hardware customization. I want to choose the processor I want. You know, I want to choose the camera I want. You know, I want to choose the type of body I want. Because if you guys remember about 15, 20 years ago, that was the big thing with Dell. Dell was like, if you want a phone or you want a computer, all right, what you want in it? You know, and you list off what you want. They build it, they put it together, and they send it to you. And they charge you like $4,000 for something you could have built yourself for $1,500. But that's a different story. But, you know, if Apple can do something like that, now that would be amazing. Basically pre-order and have your phone, customize your hardware on the phone, and even customize the possible software which you want. Customize which OS you want on your phone too. That's what Apple probably needs to do, and they could probably actually still stick to the same bloody price point they got now, and do something like that and make a killing in it. Because everyone's going to be like, "Ooh, I could do this with my phone. I could put, hypothetically speaking, like 10, 15 gigs of RAM on my phone if I want." You know, if it's possible. But that's what Apple needs to do. That will be innovative right there.
I don't know. I guess the next 2 or 3 years are going to be very interesting to see which direction Apple will go then with their next hardware, if they even try to come out with some other hardware, or are they going to go?
Oh my God, Perp! Can I just say what Perp mine said? He said, "Get rid of Tim Cook and get Dame Dash."
Oh Lord, he's trolling. Troll kitty, troll seems to be. But other than that, I'm about to go ahead and get up out of here. But I appreciate you all joining me tonight. Thank you, LeBaron and Mr. and Mrs. Catwoman. I appreciate you all. Thank you all for joining me in the chat. I appreciate it. Probably be back. Not sure when I'll be back. Either Wednesday or Friday. But just look out for the notification. Other than that, I'll be back. But thank you all. Appreciate y'all joining me. I'm about to get out of here. But until next time, this your boy Viper, the man about tech. You know what to find me. So come back for more.